ahead of us. Let's get this battle underway and see where it goes.
Yeah, a long night indeed. Our AM virtual fan zone, where you going? Where are my RT411 fans, or who's pulling for Captain Clutch Kick? Ryan Turk going for his first championship, but again, a long road ahead. Even if he wins here, he'd have to go 8-4 and get the win.
And also, are there any of those remnant nerves from the last time he was on the track at this time of night?
Yeah, that's right. You brought that up earlier because he did have his bye run, hasn't gone against anybody, and the last time he drove was Friday night when he went into the wall. Oh boy, yeah, the plot thickens for him. And Jonathan Nairn as well. I mean, you know, we saw him on Friday night as well. And yeah, I mean, this is Formula Drift. This is Irwindale. That's why, you know, it's so important in the drifting history and the whole drift DNA and the growth of the sport. Here we are 17 years later. A champion is always crowned here, usually about a month prior to this particular date, but 2020, Irwindale, am I right? Here we go. Let's send it here. Ryan Turk going and doing battle with Jonathan Nairn. He gets the clean air first. That come out, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback. Here we go. Ryan Turk, let's see how he handles the bank. Again, point of no return. He throws it in high on the bank. He had a good bye run. Nairn dropping down a little bit lower here. Now let's see how he handles coming down in that first inside front flip. Both of them on it. A quick little transition into that inner bank. Nairn taking a shallower line. Ryan Turk getting out to the Christmas tree lights. Now into that front clip. Dialed, eyes are on the prize. Gum out, gum in. And there, ooh-wee. Flirt with those candlestick cones there, Ryan, but it looks like he barely would have glanced them, if at all.
If you're a fan of Ryan Turk, if you're rooting for him to win this championship, that's a pretty good way to start it.
Yeah.
It's a mid-high line on the bank, not overly risky. Nairn gets up here, does a pretty good job of keeping proximity with him on the bank. Now through that inside clip transition, notice how Turk really did not slow down, and that's what the judges want to see, but he didn't get as deep as he should have in outside zone 2. However, Nairn kind of went a little bit shallow, and then that pushed him long, leaving outside zone 2. Much better on outside zone 3. He did drop a tire there, but remember, the judge is basically saying, let's not hit those cylindrical red cones. Now, it's not a 0 if they hit them, but they want you to treat that as a wall, just like if you're putting your bumper into the wall. Go way off. I think we've seen 1-0 this weekend for all 4 tires going off in that area, but you really want to make sure that you eye up that area as best as you possibly can, because it is the only part of the course that doesn't have a wall.
Jonathan Nairn will lead that ISR performance. S14, Ryan Turk giving chase. Look at this. Nairn gapping Ryan Turk, but this might be strategy. I think he's maybe got a little confidence here, but you can't give that much room to Nairn. He might run away with it, and then you got to think, catching up here on the inner bank. We've seen some collisions there before, but oh, look at that. Ryan Turk ducking into formation. Oh, we got contact. Oh, boy. Ryan. Some contact in the chase position, Nairn and Turk. That was not a decel area. The decel area is after that outside zone, and Ryan, I could see you wanting to pull up that decel map. So contact between Turk and Nairn.
Well, there is a decel zone there after outside zone.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
outside zone 2 before the inside clip. So that is a decel zone. But what we're going to be looking at here is the forward momentum of Nairn and Turk. Now, I can't stress enough that the championship turns on this. So Ryan Turk gave a big gap there to Nairn, and what the worry is that if you are trying to catch up and you carry more speed than you usually would in your chase run, that you're going to end up hitting the guy in front of you. Now Nairn, that's a decel zone there. Now he should be back on throttle. And as soon as the zone ends, right there, there's a decel zone. So it's gonna come up. I want to say, I keep saying decel zone. It's their momentum zones, and it's basically for the chase driver to understand where the lead driver should have a change in momentum.
Oh, look at that. So Nairn actually threw it. Oh, there's the truth be told cam, man. Watch Nairn. I'd like to go back to that drone as well. And I'm only kind of stressing this. I mean, we're going to overanalyze this just because the championship is on the line. And Ryan, you said it right out of the gate. If Ryan Turk loses here, Vaughn Gittin Jr. is your 2020 Formula Drift Pro Champion. Let's take a look. We did see some flames shooting out from underneath Nairn's vehicle. That's why our fire crew is over there. But that overhead view, we saw Nairn in that, like you called it, the momentum zone. I like that even better than decel. And in that momentum area, it looked like he did throw a little bit more angle at the vehicle as he exited out of that outside zone, approaching the inside clip. Watch this.
So what we're looking for here, and let's remember, in the momentum zones, the judges laid those down based off telemetry data from where these drivers are making adjustments, and they're either going down in speed or they're getting ready to transition to the other part of the course. So it's going to start right there and probably end about right there, and then that's where the contact, actually it's a collision, technically speaking, because the run stopped, and that's the main differentiating factor between a collision and contact in our rule book. A collision is, you know, where the run will stop, and contact is something that the run keeps going. But either way, because this is the second run, the whole entire battle is going to turn on this situation here, because being that it's a collision, somebody's got an incomplete.
So here's it looked like, I mean, it's Turk's job. I don't think he helped himself at all as far as giving himself that gap and then closing it, you know, throughout the entirety of the course. But my observation, it does look like Naren hangs out there a little long on the patio, if I may, and then he throws a little more angle at it to maybe beeline towards that inside clip. Again, just it didn't seem right what happened there.
Well, what we saw last night in Pro 2 is we saw a situation where a driver did something that seemed outside the norm of a decel zone or momentum zone area, and it actually went against him. However, you know, that's going to be what the judges are going to have to ascertain here. Now, it doesn't help Turk's case that he was really giving too much of a gap to Naren, because that kind of implies that he's trying to catch up. And if he was doing it strategically, that's fine, because maybe he knew he had more grip in the car, that he could catch up and keep that proximity. It looked like that he was zeroing in on that. Here it is from the big bank. You see that gap being established. Now this is, you know, could be
watch the smoke signal as well.
Implied here as, okay, now I'm going to catch him, I'm going to stay on him. And he does pretty much that. He's starting to get door to door here. You see the smoke line from Naren. It's going to lift right there. You see it start dissipating. So it's really just going to be the judge's interpretation of whether or not that momentum zone was used appropriately by Naren, and whether or not Turk was in the right there to be chasing him down with that kind of confidence.
And there we are looking in the RTR pit. There's Vaughn Gittin Jr. and his guys. Again, what's your guys' thoughts at home? What are you guys thinking? Again, I have no crowd here yelling, booing, cheering, slamming, dancing, whatever they got to do. Vaughn's looking on. There's our AEM virtual fan zone. As you can see, I just realized it's a turkey with the Turk head. Here we go. So okay, real quick. Hold on, real quick. Jonathan Naren gets the win. Wow. Jonathan Naren gets the win, and that means Vaughn Gittin Jr. is your 2020 Formula Drift Pro champion. And unbelievable turn of events here. We'll go to the judges here. Vaughn doesn't know yet, and there it is. Vaughn Gittin Jr. is your 2020 Formula Drift Pro champion. Congratulations to the RTR team. Vaughn and his team haven't done this in 10 years, and now the championship is his. Having an almost 2-year-old next month, been married for multiple years. I know now he's just shooting for the win. Ryan, going to throw it over to you. Ryan Lontaine, it was unanimous going the way of Naren.
We looked at the replay over and over again. We brought up the decel map. Naren did his decel exactly where the decel is, or on the momentum map. It did initially look like it was a little bit abrupt maybe, but looking at the Skycam, he got some angle into the car to get it slowed down, and it just looked like Turk didn't react to that slowdown. I don't know where Turk was looking in that situation. He just kept going. We'd expected him to maybe slow down and adapt.
Okay. Yeah, because Osbo is out, and also consider that Forsberg is still in contention at the top of the finish as well. Chelsea Denofa going in. Michael Essa chasing him down. Denofa with some amazing angle there. Essa does have the proximity now, but can he mimic the angle? He is ripping into that inside bank. Oh, look at that. There's the bumper budget. Goes up one more bumper into that front clip. So much smoke being kicked out of the back of that Ford Mustang. Michael Essa can barely be seen. Wow.
High-risk maneuver there on inside clip 1 by Michael Essa, and it looked like he pulled it off and was going to be able to get right in the pocket there with Chelsea Denofa on outside zone 2. But Denofa does a great job starting off. Mid-high line on the bank, then moving up very high. Good job by Michael Essa right there. Watch this transition. right on the back bumper to Chelsea DeNova. Now here I really thought he was going to start attacking, but he ended up getting on a lower line coming into outside zone number 2. Makes a little bit of a correction there. DeNova taps the wall, but he keeps angle in the wheel, so that's a great save by DeNova. Good job on inside clip 1. Here comes Essa, one more surge to outside zone 3. Then DeNova rides that white line all the way through the finish line with Michael Essa playing catch up there. So let's switch things up as Michael Essa will now jump to the lead. And Chelsea DeNova trying to get into 3rd place with the win here to overtake Frederick Osbo in the chase position.
Remember, these guys are both on the podium Friday night. You know, we had 2nd and 3rd, both these guys behind Frederick Osbo. And that wall did not even affect DeNova. That was crazy.
Collapsible bumpers, baby.
Yep, bumper budget going up. Here we go, the second half of this battle. Getting everything back up and clear. And we are clear to send. Thumbs up from the drivers. And Matt Sopa turning on the lights. As soon as they extinguish, it's go time. There we go. Michael Essa will lead. Chelsea DeNova giving chase. Essa initiates. Look at DeNova. Not giving him an inch. Oh man, Michael Essa, great angle. A little lower on the bank there in that lead position. Coming now into that inner bank. I know Essa, or excuse me, wow, look at that. DeNova bringing the heat around that front clip, and a wide swing by Essa does save it, brings it back into that final outside zone.
Well, I think the one major thing that was missing there from Michael Essa was something similar to Chelsea on the big bank. He did a great job on the inner bank, had a nice transition, was a little bit late into outside zone 3. The problem here for Michael Essa is that DeNova really stuck with him in the chase position by doing stuff like that. I mean, that is incredible. Right there, right next to his door with that front right wheel, transitions back around. Good job by Essa, just a little bit low on that inside clip. Now Essa really does a tremendous job here on the inner bank. Look at that, beautiful, right up against the wall. But again, not being able to shake Chelsea DeNova. Little bit of an adjustment here by DeNova to set up this last turn. Is massive angle there from Michael Essa on the transition around. DeNova does a good job braking there to avoid any contact. And once again, Essa looks great in this outside zone 3. But you just have to assume that because both roles, both responsibilities were done very well by Chelsea DeNova, that it's going to be really hard for the judges not to give him the win here. He just performed very strongly in both the lead and the chase roles.
Yeah, after a great performance from both those guys Friday night, I'm sure they're thinking it's unfortunate that we met tonight. They both had the vehicles that obviously could conquer Irwindale, but you got to conquer the other driver, and there it is. Chelsea DeNova gets the win and goes on and advances past Michael Essa. World War II as the Gum-Out Rain-X O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW on Achilles tires, ready to throw down against Taylor Hull. And here we go, Taylor Hull, Dylan Hughes in another run, already in. Naren and DeNova.
That was not good.
Yeah, that got a little wonky there, Ryan. As Dylan, so Taylor Hull nice on the bank. Dylan Hughes middle of the bank. Now let's see how they handle this transition past that front clip into that mid-bank. Dylan applying the pressure, almost rubbing Achilles. Yeah, they are going into each other. Dylan Hughes throwing it into the side of that Cadillac ATS-V. All right, let's take a look at this. Yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of commenting on that start. We throw it down to the starter to see what's transpired. Ryan, what caught your eye?
Well, it looks like Dylan was trying to get out of the gate early. It looks like he may have mistimed the light. I mean, if we roll it back, we'll be able to see because the light is well illuminated. And we are hearing that it was a clean start. Obviously, the other key part of the battle is really what it's going to be probably the other shot looking at the start line. But let's take a look at this run real quick. As you see that Dylan Hughes at this point is trying to play catch up here. Apparently not getting that good start out of the gate. And look at Taylor Hull. I mean, how consistent has this guy been?
Yeah.
just absolutely killing it on the big bank. Dylan now in the mix here, leaving the big bank and getting into this second bank with a lot of proximity up against Hull, rubbing right there. And then Hull goes off throttle as they start making contact. So another fun one for the judges.
Yeah.
Now remember, we just saw an example of the decel zone being used, which starts right there. And then that's where we see the contact. So here's the start. Let's take a look at it. Watch right down here. There you go, 1. Now, when the light goes off, that's when the lead driver can leave. So basically, I actually think Taylor Hull did not get out of the gate. What will happen here is, did he get out of the gate within the beat that's allotted?
Yeah, what comes into play here is you want to leave within a reasonable amount of time, because if you just buffer and wait, you're kind of icing, right? Like in football, you kind of ice the kicker, right?
Yeah.
So if you ice your competitor, that's nerves, and traditionally, okay, lights extinguished, you go. If you basically kind of ice the other driver, that's not good sportsmanship. I don't know if that's the case here. I think that's just what's coming into consideration.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. Basically, what the starter allows before he'll call a restart on the lead driver is he gives him a beat to go by the time by the time it is extinguished. So if he says it's a clean start, then it will basically go down as a clean start. But let's take a look at it one more time and see if it went past that beat.
Yeah, here's the real-time shot from the start. Ready. Again, all of them. And once they extinguish, you want the lead driver to go. So 1, 2,
Boom,
3, 4.
beat. See, so Dylan went off a little tiny bit early, and it was like boom, beat.
But he can leave early. That's the whole thing.
You're
saying he's trying to anticipate it.
He's trying to anticipate. Well, he can leave whenever he wants,
that's what
right?
I'm saying. He could.
So, but what he's trying to do is get the best timing against when Hull leaves, right? And if Hull is either going to leave right when the light goes off, or he's going to utilize that beat, right? So if he utilizes that beat, it's going to be a little bit extra time for.
What do the rules specify as far as the beat? 5 seconds?
No. The beat is basically a beat, like the word beat. The word beat, yeah.
Okay.
1/1002.
Yeah.
Not 2 if they're not gone. Drone again, please.
All right, they're really analyzing this, and I can't recall that.
We just need the contact. I don't know if they can isolate it.
And now they're looking into the contact to see what's going on there. And this is all for dictating fault.
Dictating fault, yeah, and just to make sure that we're completely clear on the start light, our race control here said basically the beat is just as we explained there. It's a 1/1000, and then they need to go. So, I don't know if that's being spoken about between the judges and the starter, or whether or not they've shifted their focus now to the contact. Let's take a look at the contact and see what happens here. Hughes is closing with a lot of pressure here. And the decel zone starts right there, and then we see contact happen, or collision happen, since the run stopped. So we are going to have to ascertain fault. We are in between runs, so it's not going to have any finality, at least right now.
Yeah, so as Dylan waits, here it is. Here's the drone shot.
Decel zone. Momentum zone.
Oh man, this second outside zone is causing a lot of frustration here, and the judges elaborating. All right, so
And it really hasn't historically, right? It's basically just been the last
these
two
battles. Well, you could say the first run and the third run. So, all right. Well, as they're trying to figure it out and deduce what happened, let's throw it down to Lorette and Denofa. Of years. O'Reilly Auto Parts, Rain-X. I have a feeling Dylan Hughes is really going to throw down here. Just get fired up, and Taylor Hull chasing him down. Crazier things have happened, man. I mean, even with that contact and Dylan Hughes at fault, he's going to throw down a serious run. What is Taylor Hull going to do? How's he going to track him down? All right, here we go, off the bank, into that front clip. Massive angle there from Dylan Hughes past that transition and inside clip. Dylan Hughes all the way to outside zone. Taylor Hull taking a shallower line. Dylan using all of the course Now into that final outside zone goes Dylan Hughes. Oh, and really exceeding. I think Dylan had a really good line up until that point. There's some, you know, we got, look, it looks like we got fire and we got rain. Little James Taylor for you there. Fire, rain X, and now it's extinguished. Man, Sopa's been a busy man with that extinguisher here in Irwindale this weekend.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of that exact circumstance. And to the call at hand, nothing there that Taylor Hull did looked like an incomplete to me. So unfortunately for some of the drivers tonight, these mistakes in outside zone 2, that was big angle there from Dylan.
That
massive angle.
Look at this whammo.
Almost completely sideways. Actually held up the momentum pretty well, but Taylor Hull was not really in proximity, so that did not become a factor. Hull is, you know, playing it relatively safe here. He's doing a good strategic move to do the right things to find his way into the grade 8. And Hughes pushes a little bit too hard right there.
Yeah.
Almost sending 4 tires off course. And then for good measure, lighting up the car towards the end. But this should be an easy call for the judges after the fault was given to Dylan Hughes. Here we go.
Slide him left for Taylor Hull, right for Dylan Hughes, and there it is. Taylor, full pull. Hull advances on Taylor Hull and Jeff Jones. And Lorette 14, Odie Bakshis giving chase. And another Nissan with an LS under the hood, supercharged. And here we go, Forsberg. Coming to that big bank, initiates. High on the bank, here comes Odie right there to the side of him. Look at that, Odie nearing the angle. Let's see how the transition goes. That front flip, a quick, snappy one. Now into the inner bank for Forsberg. Big angle, cannot shake Odie. Wherever Forsberg goes, Odie is right there. Now coming around to that final outside zone. Getting all the way out to those pylons, but like I said earlier, analogously speaking, looks like he blew out the flame, but didn't knock over the candlestick. Very close, but didn't knock him over.
Well, we wanted to find out how Chris was going to be able to perform in this vehicle with such little practice. And he looks pretty good overall, but Odie Bakshis is a beast. And this car, I believe it won Irwindale a few years back with Matt Field. So it's definitely got the ability, but can Chris pull it off with a dangerous driver like Odie Bakshis doing that kind of stuff right here, closing the door on outside zone number 2, doing kind of the same thing he did on the bank. Bringing that proximity and that duration for longer periods of time. Good transition here by Forsberg. Now it goes a little bit long. He has to hold up. He gets off the gas for a second to make that adjustment. But Odie is unfazed in the chase position. Here we go, switching things up. Odie Bakshis going to the lead as Chris Forsberg will chase him down.
Yeah, fairly equally matched vehicles here. And it just, we talked about it earlier, Ryan, how Odie has become such a good chase driver. I think a lot of it has to do with, he hasn't changed platforms in quite some time. Different chassis, yes, but still S chassis nonetheless. Here we go. Odie initiates, pulling out all the stops. Big angle there from Odie, and he's pulling away on Forsberg. Now he's going to transition here on that front clip. And into that inner bank goes Odie. Ooh. Looks like Forsberg does gain some ground here. Overshooting, staying long there on the outside zone is Forsberg. About the 3rd hash mark on that inside clip. Down out to that outside zone, Odie, and look at that, Forsberg jumps inside of him. But again, just kind of back and forth. Wow. All right, the AEM Virtual Fan Zone, where are you at? What do you guys think?
I hear some Odies in there.
Yeah, I'm seeing Odie. Is that %001? All right.
Well, Odie Bakshis gets off to a good start here. Mid-high line on the bank. Forsberg suffering a little bit of lack of proximity here. Now he's going to really get on the gas through inside clip number 1. He's going to start closing the door on Odie, who's looking for that deep outside zone line. Getting him out there near the wall. Chris is closing, a little bit of rubbing. And there makes a slight adjustment. Wow, look at that. That was incredible. Big tire mark on the passenger, the driver's side door of Odie Bakshis. And then once again, another surge here from Forsberg. Big amount of angle there by Odie Bakshis and a nice backfire or two there on that last outside zone. So judges once again here in a tough position. Odie had a great lead, did pretty well in his chase. Aggressive at moments, Chris as well. How did his lead run compare to Odie Bakchis?
Ryan, the big thing talking to Forsberg, he knows he's outside of the championship contention. The big thing for him is he wanted to at least get into the top 3 to end the season. Here's our BC Racing custom coilover side by side.
Well, you can see the gap that Odie established there. He was running a pretty high line on the bank, so that's not running away. In the chase, he's doing pretty good as well. You can see he's keeping the pressure on relative to Chris in his chase. He didn't rub Chris in the same way, but he was very, very close. So a good bit of driving here by both drivers. Pretty exciting battle. And it looks like the fans are saying Odie.
Yeah, seeing a lot of Odie here for them. That's what the AEM Virtual Fan Zone is saying. But what do the 3 judges say? Slide him left for Forsberg, right for Odie. And Odie gets the win. Odie advances on into the Great 8. That is the Link ECU.
With that exit in the top 16 is going to end his run at 428 points.
Okay, here we go. Let's before you mention where he's at. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Ryan Littrell, your 2020 FD champ. Vaughn Gittin Jr. throwing down. He says he still would like to get on top of the podium. And Ryan Littrell trying to give him a battle here in that Power Stop Brakes GT Radial Nissan 350Z. Oh, Ryan Littrell straightens out. Big correction from him on that second outside zone. Getting twitchy, taking out. Oh, man, he's going reckless. And Vaughn Gittin Jr. finishes out the run, but Littrell is definitely the belle of the ball right now as he takes out those cones.
Well, we've seen this happen, right? The lead driver puts a big gap on the chase. The chase has to start making up ground now. And Littrell realizes that he's got to get in the fight here. He kind of shallows up his angle into inside clip number 1 to gain some proximity on Vaughn. And he's able to do that, but he makes a sacrifice, right? Now Vaughn is going to get into outside zone 2, be pretty deep here. Now watch the front wheel. See, they were starting to chatter, and then they move out completely. Now that will be an incomplete. That was a big straight in there from Littrell, and then he goes well off course in outside zone 3. So tough break there for Ryan Littrell. He'll have another shot at it here. But
he does surpass.
He was already ahead
ahead of him.
Yeah,
that's
just
right.
Now he's trying to see if he can track down Frederick Osbo, which he has done that as well. So Chelsea Denova is in 3rd place right now.
There you go. All right, here we go. Ryan Littrell, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Littrell initiates. And Ryan Littrell is chased down by Vaughn Gittin Jr. Middle of the bank for that Power Stop Brakes 350Z. And here we come into the inner bank, exploding that front flip. Littrell throwing it all down, like he said to Lorette earlier. He says, you got to throw it down hard. He knows who he's going against. He's going against now a 2-time champ. Into that final outside zone, that quick little correction there. Trying to massage it into that outside zone as close as possible to those pylons. And there he goes. So Littrell and Gittin. And I assume the needle's going to go the way of Vaughn Gittin Jr., unfortunately for Littrell.
Yeah, Littrell, his opportunity here was to hope that there was an unforced error from Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the chase position. But Vaughn actually still playing it pretty aggressively, wants to make sure that he doesn't make any big mistakes, but make sure that he puts on a show for the fans and keeps the pressure on Ryan Littrell. And a lot of times with these drivers, they want to try to drive as close to the level as they're used to driving, just so it doesn't feel out of the ordinary. So Vaughn looks like he's going to get through Ryan Littrell pretty easily here with the big mistake and the incomplete by Littrell in his chase run. And that will put him into Great 8, which will continue to stack up the final championship points.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's solidified as far as overall. Nobody could catch him. But as he said to Lorette, like to take it even higher, take it all the way to the top. So we'll make it official here. And slide him left for Vaughn Gittin Jr., right for Ryan Littrell. Ryan, it's been a great season, but it ends here. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win and advances on into the Great 8. Pollock will give chase. You know, Reeder was fighting some gremlins there on Friday. See if he's got it all worked out. Says, get out. Here we go. Reeder in that GT Radial S13. High on the bank. Pollock a little bit lower here. Reeder absolutely throwing down. Justin Pollock making some corrections in that chase position. Coming to that inside bank. Now looks like Pollock is zeroed in. Past that front clip. Both of them really tight to the inside clip. Wow, look at that. Justin Pollock barely letting him by, knocking over some pylons. Old Red, wow, liked what Pollock did, and we saw that on Friday as well. Man, Pollock's putting down some serious runs, and we saw it earlier in 32.
Well, look at this here. Travis Reeder high on the bank. Pollock has to back off for a second. His line drops down. Big angle there from Pollock on the transition. Look at that, Reeder way up high. Pollock has to make that adjustment. He comes down a little bit, readjusting here to get into outside zone number 2. Let's see where Reeder goes. He enters pretty early, nice and high, but Pollock pressure all the way through outside zone 2 into the inside clip. Now watch this switchback. That is nasty right there. Tucks up on the inside. Reeder just going off course.
Oosh.
And you can see right there, Pollock having to make an adjustment to possibly not hit Reeder. Pulls a little angle out of the car there, but great second half of the run in the chase position by JTP.
Reeder very impressive on that bank.
Strong.
And then again, I really like the way Pollock is adapting. Is not doing that snappier transition, more fluid, but definitely gaining that proximity.
Standing in agreement with you.
All right. Okay, thanks, bro. Oh, Ryan. Here we go, moving on. JTP is going to be leading Travis Reeder, giving chase. Nice job by both these gentlemen. It's going to come down to this run. And I was surprised of the height of Travis Reeder on the bank in comparison to Justin Pollock. So I'm wondering, I would think that Travis Reeder would be outpowered by JTP. It doesn't seem the case when Reeder is out front, but there we go. So Justin Pollock high on the bank, Reeder a little bit lower. Oh, correction there. You saw him almost glancing the nose of the S13, and Pollock getting familiar with that wall. Reeder shallower on the outside zone, and now coming to that final outside zone as well. And Pollock just digs it on in, that back left Falcon tire, right in that white line, Ryan.
Reeder wants this one, doesn't he? And as we go to the fans, who you guys got?
One more time.
One more time.
One more time.
Well, let's take a look at this run here. Travis Reeder is driving very aggressively. Notice that as soon as JTP picks his line on the big bank, Reeder locks in on it.
Ooh.
Got super close there, had to back off. Could have been a big mistake, but he did a good job kind of composing himself, keeping it together. Pollock really deep into this outside zone, right up against the wall, rubs it. Reeder right there trying to tack a get as close as he possibly can. Now we saw JTP maybe be a little bit closer and more aggressive in this area, but how did he do on his lead run overall? Did he do better on the big bank? Was it enough to get the job done overall as we look at the leads together and then the chases? And did somebody just outperform the other driver to make it a clear-cut win here?
What's really interesting to me is, remember when Dye won the championship, we always talk about S13s and how old that vehicle is, and that was some time ago, but still here is an S13 that's, almost 30 years old and still competitive. You don't find that in many motorsports.
No, you don't, and they've found a way to kind of aesthetically make them look really cool as well. They don't come off as old.
Right, yeah, exactly. I think that's obviously the spirit of our sport. Here's our BC Racing custom coilover side by side. Reeder leading on the left and Pollock leading on the right.
Yeah, good look here. You can kind of see Pollock was really pushing hard into that second outside zone. JTP on the chase, really keeping the pressure on. And there's that switch back there on the left-hand side of your screen. Beautifully done there. Reeder did go a little bit off course in his lead there on that final outside zone. So, I think the fans' intuitions actually kind of seem pretty tuned in. I've seen some one more times.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of OMTs here, but I think they want to fix. They just want to see more drifting here. I know we got fans watching from all across the globe, including all the way in Peachtree City, Georgia. My man Rutledge Wood and his daughters are watching. So thank you for watching, Rutledge and all the fans. Hashtag FDIRW. All right, waiting for the outcome here of this run. I feel like Robbie now. I'm clicking my pen over here. All right. One more battle left after this. Adam LZ and Kenshiro Gushi. Ken Gushi winning here last year, 2019, the Irwindale finale. You can see that back left corner. Justin Pollock saying, "Yeah, yep, that's evidence. That's like a drift tattoo." getting a mark on that back left bumper, showing you that he was dragging it. And here we go, Reeder and Pollock slide him left for Reeder, right for Pollock. And it looks like Chris Yule says JTP, and there it is, Justin Pollock. Justin Pollock gets the win one more time there. Von Jr.
Von Jr. Like, you're going to learn a lot because those opportunities in those cars don't really come about. So I think he's done a great job, and he'll secure the Rookie of the Year, but he's got to go up against a veteran right now, Ken Gucci.
That's right. Here we go. Adam LZ initiating into the bank. Ken Gucci having issues of his own, swapping out the engine. And Adam LZ mid-bank here at Irwindale as he transitioned past that front clip. Adam LZ now into the inner bank. That 2J powered S15, beautiful looking car, and of course the Supra, not too shabby either. Now coming back into that final outside zone. LZ, let's see how he manages. Brings it right near those pylons, and Ken Gucci cannot be shaken either.
Yeah, you know, I'm starting to sense a little bit of 2019 Ken Gucci at Irwindale. And I think he basically has had enough and is just really going out there and driving hard. Now, Adam left a little bit on the table, a little bit left to be desired on the big bank. And I don't think you can do that against a very hungry Ken Gucci, because in his chase run right here, he did a really great job eyeing up areas specifically where he could attack and get super close to Adam LZ, especially through this inside clip here, and not letting him get away. Great job by Gucci there. Adam LZ in his lead run, pretty solid overall, but did leave a little bit on the table for outside zone number 1. Almost hitting some of those center pylons there, but now we will switch things up. Adam's got to give a good chase here to Ken Gucci. Let's see how Gucci manages that big bank.
Yeah, it did look like LZ knocked a few of those red cones over. Also, you talk about LZ leaving the door open. I think that Gucci could have been closer on that second inner bank as well. So now let's alternate the order. Gucci will lead that Toyota GR Supra, and LZ giving chase. Let's see what Goosh has got here. Both these guys running on Achilles tires. And Ken Gucci initiates. You saw some wavering there. But look at that. He massages it up the bank, allowing LZ to gain that proximity. Now coming back past that second inside clip into the inner bank and then outside zone. LZ right there in his business, tucking in. Oh, there it is. We saw that from, I'm trying to recall who it was, but he was right, thank you, Von Gittin Jr. He got blinded by the smoke, and Adam LZ, unfortunately, I was just going to say, he was just eyeballs deep in the smoke, and you're not going to be able to navigate the course like that.
Yeah, and that was looking to be a really strong chase run there from Adam LZ. Let's see the moment that it transpired here. Gucci midline on the bank, then he starts working his way up, exits at the right time, but through the smoke line is Adam LZ. Good pressure there through inside clip 1, and again on outside zone number 2. Now, the moment that it all goes awry is right here when he starts getting lost in the smoke line, and he transitions, and he's on the wrong side of the course. Did not stay with Gucci. You can see the front wheels kind of wash out there.
Whoa.
Bill.
Almost got that wall.
Scary situation there for LZ. Don't want to have that happen, but as you said, Jared, we have seen that before. Saw that with Von Gittin Jr. on Friday night. Yep. Here's a look from above. And whatever the takeaway is for Adam in his own mind, I think overall he showed a lot of high-level drifting this year that I don't think a lot of people would have expected at first glance.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity, he was going to maybe do Pro 2 again, but because of these double headers, and I think he's proved that he definitely belongs here.
Rightfully so, and I think, like you said, it really came together for him in Texas. I think Adam LZ is a trend. Chelsea Denofa in the BC Racing Ditto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D, going against Jonathan Aaron, the ISR S14. Here we go, Chelsea Denofa initiating the Type F. Oh, look at Aaron jumping up. Are you kidding me? Look at that. Oh, Chelsea Denofa goes higher on the bank. And we saw Chelsea Denofa again grabbing third place on Friday. Whoa, Naren ducks into that smoke. He is all over the track right now. Naren takes a shallower line. He goes off course. And I got to think that he just saw Denofa just have an amazing run right front and center of him.
Well, we saw the upset that Naren was able to pull off against Ryan Turk, which had put a quick stop to the championship chase and gave it to Von Gittin Jr. Now he's got to do battle against Chelsea Denofa. who has massive angle coming off the bank. Ooh, just takes out that inside clip, but Naren is really trying to catch up at this point, and then as he comes into outside zone number 2, he may have got lost in the smoke, comes off the line a bit too early. 1, 2, but big tires off there, big adjustment, just barely kept some angle in the front wheels, but it's gonna be a massive mistake there for Naren, who will now have some heavy lifting to do as he will go to the lead position against Chelsea Denofa.
I think regardless of the outcome here for Naren, would you say he's, gonna be happy and content with that? With his performance here this weekend?
I don't know, how he thinks about, competition in general. I haven't got a chance to know him as well as I know some of the other drivers, but it is so hard to come into this series and, put together a program. I have to imagine that he's going to be happy with certain aspects of it, but, they also were dealing with a lot of really tough circumstances earlier on in the season, and maybe you'd like to get some of that back. And that's maybe a motivating factor for your 21 preparation.
Yeah, and I talked with him again at LS Fest, and he talked about Texas popping 2 engines, swapping one in, doing this, doing that, in Seattle, and he just, he switched cars mid-season. This is kind of Old Faithful with him. He competed up in Canada with Formula Drift Canada in this vehicle, so he knows it's a proven chassis. Is it competitive like his Shelby Cobra? Maybe, maybe not, maybe so. Regardless, he's here, and like you said, just coming into this and showing up at Irwindale and saying like, I'm going to win this thing.
Hey, Naren and Nelson are an awesome duo. I love to see him continue to do what they're doing.
Naren will now lead. Denofa will give chase. Denofa and Naren. One of these drivers going against either Taylor Hull or Jeff Jones in the final 4. We are already in our first battle of the Grade 8. Naren will lead. Coming across the nose of Denofa. Naren initiates. Not a large degree of angle. Now he pours it on, but with him more and more angle on it, it drops him down the bank. Now Denofa, I would say, has to take a calculated risk here going against Naren. We saw how it transpired for Ryan Turk there. Seems like no big thing there for Naren out front. And he does swing wide, hangs it out there, and coming into that final outside zone, Naren and Denofa.
Well, obviously we would need to see a big mistake here from Chelsea Denofa after what we saw on that second outside zone from Naren. Let's take a look at it. Nice little flick there from Naren. Midline on the bank, Denofa doing the right thing, following that line. How much pressure does he think that he needs to keep on Naren here to get the win and move on into the final 4? Good surge right there by Denofa. Good braking adjustment there as he tries to find the right line. Backs off for a second and pushes the pace a little bit more. Big angle there from Naren as he transitions into this last outside zone. Denofa towing up the rear end there. Seeing the Type S underglow as they go through the finish line and wait for the driver's results.
Really liked what Denofa did there, and you pointed it out on that second inside bank. Just quickly massaged it and just got to the side of him. Here we go, Naren or Denofa. Naren and Denofa moves on. Denofa goes to the final 4.
Pete, can he get deep into competition to get those vibes?
Yep, there you go. All right, vibes are right now pointed at Taylor Hull and Jeff Jones, 2 very electric competitors, and as you say, entertaining, in just different ways, but definitely 2 talented drivers. Look at Taylor Hull in that comp cams, kind of like way high. Jeff Jones says, oh, you're up there? Me too, here we go. So Taylor Hull wraps it around that front clip. See what you got. The Intimidator comes in hot. See if he can live up to his name. Full pull. Jeff Jones shallow. All right, now around that second inside clip. Oh, nice transition there from Jeff Jones. Tit for tat now into that outside zone and crossing the finish line. That was a fun one to watch, but quickly out of the gate, Taylor Hull stuck it to the wall.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about this battle is it's 2 veteran drivers that in my mind have had tremendously improved seasons year over year. Both Hull and Jeff Jones have done some great things this year, have gone really deep into competition, and you can see by their driving with each other how that is manifesting out on the track. Let's take a look as we get into the second outside zone. Hull once again dropping into that midline there as Jones surging forward almost to the back bumper of Taylor Hull as they get one last transition here to that final outside zone. A little bit less of a line there from Jones at the beginning, but then he corrects for it and gets on the right line against Taylor Hull, and now he will be taking the lead.
Jeff Jones out front, that Doc Edelbrock at GT Radial, Nissan 370Z, Taylor Hull Comp Cams, Liqui Achilles Radial, Cadillac ATS-V. Let's see what we got here in this Grade 8 battle. Who's going against Chelsea Denofa in the Grade 8? Make sure the track is clear, no debris. Just shed some light on it. Hashtag FDIRW. Let everybody know you're watching. Again, that chase car can leave the line before the lead car to pace themselves. Making sure they're door to door. Jeff Jones initiates. Oh, and Taylor Hull falls out of drift. You saw he initiated and he fell straight right after he initiated. Jeff Jones continues on through the course, Ryan. And Jeff gets out to that second outside zone. Kind of alternating positions with Taylor Hull taking that shallow line. Now see how they handle this last outside Jones, I guess you could say. Jones in for Taylor Hull. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, the first thing you hear from one of our judges is definitely going to need a drone on that, and I totally concur, because what happened in the chase run there with Taylor Hull is going to have a huge impact.
Whoa.
Look at that. It's basically a reinitiation. The front wheels wash out, and he goes straight for a half of a beat and then has to reinitiate the vehicle. I think that that's probably an incomplete, if you look at it as a standalone correction there. And in the chase position, obviously Jones, you know, in the lead position is on throttle at that point, smoking it up. It looks like Taylor Hull just became unstuck there. And it truly is unfortunate, because you could see that he was surging forward. As Jones initiated, Hull was surging forward and may have just got a little bit disrupted there. And they've quickly made up their minds here. Here we go.
Yeah, and there you go. So that incomplete by Taylor Hull in that second run is the deciding factor. Jeff Jones makes it to the Final Four once again. We saw it being done in Texas, and here it is. Hopefully keep his car together, and love to see him grab his first ever carbon fiber trophy. And of all places, Irwindale, dude, just knowing this guy, he's
car problems, especially on those doubleheader weekends, right? It's not like we have 8 weekends that are spaced out a month apart and you have time to think about what you're going to do between rounds. It's like the round is the next day.
Yep.
Gotta go.
Yeah, and that's why I really like this format. Again, Pro 2, Pro. Here we go, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Odie Bakshis. Vaughn said, I'd love to meet my RTR teammate in the finals, because he's 0-3 against Chelsea. Right now, Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Odie. Wow, look at Odie. We talked about how great his chase run is. A little lower, but Vaughn Gittin Jr. rises to the occasion. Past that first clip. That was a quick little transition. Didn't see a lot of angle there. Woo! Look at that. Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Odie. This is what we want to see, a shape of things to come. Oh, Odie just lets him right past him as Vaughn fills that outside zone. And Odie, that was a solid second half of this run. That was awesome.
What Odie did in outside zone 2 was one of the probably riskier moves that you can make because of how dangerous that outside zone can be. Pretty good job by Vaughn, nice and high on the bank. Odie sticking with him. Now watch this. Odie's gonna shoot down towards Vaughn. Right there. Makes contact with him, but sticks with it. That was wonderfully executed by Odie Bakshis. Just beautiful there as Vaughn does a great job allowing this to happen, because he's putting on a solid lead run. But as we're focusing on the chase driver, we're already thinking, is Vaughn going to be able to do this? And can Odie have a solid lead run? It's 50% of the way done, and we've got 50% more to go.
And we are finding out that Odie's actually calling a competition timeout, Ryan.
I'm not totally surprised about that, because I believe there was contact there, but it did not affect either driver in terms of the attitude of the car.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to have a role in judging, other than we have, you know, potentially some damage, a damaged rim from Odie or something like that.
What do you guys think of that run, right? Yeah, we're seeing, would you smash the like button for that one? I'm sure you guys will. Yo. Yes, so many fans here. Thank you guys for joining us here. We got the RTR hat on. Looks like it's signed by Vaughn Gittin Jr. himself. And there is Odie and his team over here getting that 5-minute competition timeout clock ready. Kind of sizing up once they get hands on the car. So they're going to check the alignment there. And 5 minutes starts now. So NGK competition timeout being utilized by Odi Bakshi's. Do spark plugs time out? Yeah, they sure do. A timely spark plug replacement not only prevents fouling and provides the best engine performance, it ensures less repair time and can save you money on unnecessary repairs. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn more about original equipment, suggested spark plug intervals, and find the best plug for your engines. NGK, the ignition specialist. Lorette Nickel down there in the pits, and it looks like we are getting thumbs up. They're saying, yeah, we're towed up. So 4:30 left. I think that's smart for them to utilize it. I mean, you know, they're going against the now champ. Is that proper strategy?
I want to say yes, just because you're right. It is against the champ, and he's got, if he gets through Gittin, he's got 3 more potential battles. Obviously, a win here would be just a great windfall for Odi Bakshi's in the final round of the year. But sometimes you got to make those audibles. You know, you got to call those audibles and tell your team, let's just make sure that the car is tip top. So, you know, it's a tough decision sometimes.
Yeah, it is tough because you're like, oh, did I pull that card too quick? I think, again, you're going against Vaughn Gittin Jr. We also are hearing that our officials down on the grid are saying that Vaughn does have marks on his wheels, so he'll need to inspect that. So the judges want to take a look at the last run before we start the new one, but I believe we're gonna. Okay, so we're gonna pull up that run here. Here it is again. So I believe they're saying, okay, who's at fault, right? Because if Vaughn wants to get hands on his car and take a look at it, he would need to use his competition timeout as well.
Yes, that is true. So yeah, because we're hearing that there may be damage on Vaughn's car, now they do need to assess fault, because that'll dictate who gets to use their competition timeout and who has that extra time and doesn't have to use it. So
I'm hearing the judges say that Odi's at fault, meaning Vaughn can get hands on the car, take a look at it without utilizing that comp timeout.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean,
yeah.
he was in the beginning of outside zone 2. He'd already decelled. Odi was coming up fast. That seems like the right call.
Yeah, you could, I don't really see, I mean, you could see some rub in there on his fender. Don't see it on the wheels too much. No, it looks like that's a vent. Well, there's in the cockpit of the 2020 Formula Drift champ. If you're just tuning in, earlier in the event, back in top 16 round or battle of the first battle between Turk and Naren. Unfortunately, Turk gets knocked out, and that solidified Vaughn Gittin Jr. as your 2020 Formula Drift champ. Here was to be our last battle of the Grade 8 to find out who goes in the Final Four. JTP, Justin Pollock, who is absolutely slaying it, going against a reinvigorated Ken Gucci. And Ryan, you said it looks like Gucci from 2019 after kind of a tough year. He won last year. Can he do it again? JTP is going to try to put a stop to that. And there it is. There's that drift tattoo, dragging that back bumper up on the big bank, the famous Irwindale bank. Now JTP brings it in on the inner bank, brings it deeper than Ken Gucci, and Ken gains ground and brings it at last outside zone. It seemed that Ken was just a bit short, just a bit outside of that strike zone on every single zone.
Yeah, not really keeping a ton of pressure on Justin Pollock, and we know how much of a beast Justin Pollock can be. Notice how high he is on the bank. Ken doing relatively well on the line towards the latter part of the bank. Good switch back there. Now this is usually where we see a surging attack, but Ken's on a slightly tighter line there. He's not fully engaged. So we're seeing some opportunities here for Justin Pollock in the chase position. Now here he starts making a little bit of a move. He floats out a little bit longer to try to get in the pocket here. We've seen some drivers do that, but he's not fully able to really get within a car length until we get to about almost the end of the course, and he's still about a car length and a half away. So Justin Pollock has a big opportunity here. How will Ken's lead run be? Can he really get up there high on the bank and show a point of difference? Let's find out here on run 2.
Second run of this battle, that Rowdy Energy Toyota Racing Toyota GR Supra of Kenshiro Gucci, Falcon Tires, Roush Performance Ford Mustang, Justin Pollock. Ken Gucci getting the clean air. Let's see how he handles it. Initiates, throws it in, the Achilles tires go ablaze. You can see him all over the track. Justin thrown off maybe a little bit there, coming down off the bank. Whoa, buddy, and Justin Paul, you can see, trying to chase him down. Wonder if Kenshiro is 100% tight to that front clip. It's just, I'm nervous just watching this. I mean, this battle is kind of, it's like an arm wrestling match. You're seeing it go one way, and then it comes back the other, it goes there, and somebody's going to break a wrist.
It seemed like Ken was not really as fast as Pollock was, and I don't know if that has to do with maybe the car having issues. It didn't see, it felt that way, right, that Justin was always surging on him. There's a huge left foot braking there, which is allowed. Ken wasn't super high on the bank, but you can see Justin is so close. He's like fighting his own car to not make a mistake here, because it seems like he's much more gripped up than Ken is. So we'll see how this plays out in the judges' minds. But there again, wow, you can see as Ken transitioned to outside now, he surpasses his front wheels there. So this is a crazy one, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Justin kind of just like hiccuping, like, are we cool? No, okay, we're back. Like, watch this. He works it. I mean, like you said, that left foot brake, it caused him to slide and go up the bank, which is where you wanted to be, but it was so volatile.
Yeah, either JTP is really gripped up, or Ken is kind of down on power a little bit. It was the first run seemed a lot more smooth and consistent from both drivers, and it just seems like JTP is kind of fighting, not wanting to hit Ken. And as Ken transitions here, he's going to surpass the front wheels almost on this last outside zone. So I'm wondering how the judges are thinking about this one. Very interesting run there. What do you guys think out there?
All right, look at that. We got creative graphic there. JTP, one man saying Goosh up here. We got one more time, Gooshy Gang. Let's take a look at our BC Racing custom coilover side-by-side instant replay, Ryan.
So let's see if we get any kind of meaning out of the run on the left. See, Ken is not really having much of an issue hanging with Justin. So at least on that run, it looks like they're flying pretty good. Ken obviously is not in very, very close proximity relative to Justin. And remember, the car setups between run 1 and run 2 are going to be exactly the same, other than how the tire wear has been affected. So really interesting here that Justin was able to get that close and seemed like he was really fighting, not wanting to hit Ken.
Yeah, some of these fans are saying go at it again.
One more time. One more time. One more time. One more time.
All right, all the different nationalities and different countries watching right now, thank you. And we'll find out. Remember, we got to go back to Odie and Gittin. And you could see Ken Gucci waiting, slide him left for Pollock, right for Ken Gucci. One more time, so there the fans get it. Ryan Lontaine says Justin Pollock, and Brian Eggert says one more time. So they are going at it again. Let's go back and revisit the second half of this battle, run 2 between Odie Bakshis and Von Gittin Jr. Odie will lead. Mountain tires, wheel suspension,
That's a good jump by Odie.
Oh. But he thought it was going to be a restart? Von Gittin Jr. goes into the wall. Quickly, we change camera angles, and Von takes himself out. So now, recalling both runs, Odie Bakshis. So, you know, as far as utilizing that competition timeout, I believe it might have paid off for him. But what happened to Von Gittin Jr.? And there it is, some celebratory donuts. Yeah, he says, yeah, I'm out of here. Exit stage left. I'll see you guys at the podium.
He still has the wheels on the car.
Right.
That was a pretty good hit.
Yeah, he just rubbed up on the wall. And you know what? Celebratory burnouts, the Type S lights, and Von's going to say, hey, I'll see you at the podium. I'm going to grab the biggest trophy of them all and cheer on my dude, Chelsea Denofa, because Denofa is still in it.
Wow, look at that. Look at the back of the vehicle there.
Whammo.
Well, let's see what happens here, Jared. And he just, yep, you know, he just floated out. Just floated out a little bit too wide. This hit was not as hard, and obviously he didn't break as many parts. But the initiation comes at a point on the track where as soon as that back bumper starts going up into the wall, I think he kind of realized it was over there and really had nowhere to go. So we see Odie Bakshis finish the run. it should be a clear win for him and an opportunity here to capture a few more hearts and minds before we close out the 2020 season.
Up close with that bumper, and those guys talk about that bumper budget. This is something similar to what he did with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, this is almost identical, but like you said, not as violent.
I mean, the car is only like cosmetic damage, it looks like. Maybe there's a couple broken parts in there, but, you know, we've seen this many times before. That wall, especially at this point in competition, when we've had quite a few runs go down and there's tons of tire marble up there. You get that back bumper up there, you get that rear wheel right on that ledge. It's game over, like Tanner Faust said on Friday.
See your milkshake? I drink it up, says the wall. So takes you out. So I believe the needle will make it official here. Slide him to the left for Odie Bakshis as Von Gittin Jr., the champ. His night is done. Odie Bakshis gets the win and moves on. Rain some Achilles tires here and advance on in. We saw Gucci win here last night. JTP out front. Ken Gucci, I said he won last night, I meant last year. Here we go. Justin Pollock initiates high. Ken Gucci, that is not what Gucci needs to do, and now he works it up. Look how quick is that. And now coming down into the first inside clip. Ken Gucci surges in attack. But Justin Pollock, this is it. Watch this transition. See if he does one of his flicks or it's smooth. There it is. It's smooth like butter. Into that final outside zone. So unfortunately, Ken Gucci, like you said, Ryan, you're kind of chiming in there a little bit. Yeah,
he kind of flubbed the initiation. Watch, he kind of doesn't really fully commit to the line that Pollock had. Look at Pollock taps the wall too. But then Gucci was able to get up there and kind of correct that mistake, that little flub on initiation to get back in the fight here. Now, does he keep the pressure on Justin Pollock? Because we saw Pollock on the last run. What Ryan Lantain was talking about is that it seemed like Ken was having issues with power or something like that because Pollock just had that really incredible surging ability and Gucci didn't seem like he was going as fast. Now this time around was a little bit similar to the last run, but we saw Gucci make that mistake on initiation. Pollock kind of tapped the big wall, but he corrected pretty well. And then the rest of the run was similar to the first one. So now, as Ken Gucci takes the lead, will we see a different car this time around? Was there really potentially a problem that led to the one more time? And can he make up for it here to try to take out JTP? But we know JTP has already had a podium this year, looked really strong in Seattle, and he's trying to get another one.
Yeah, can Ken Gucci just put it together here? Again, we saw him, and he talked about, he hasn't been back in this position here since St. Louis. Love to put it together. And you got to think, I had some words with Papadakis during the halftime break, and he says, man, we're still developing this car. And that's Papadakis.
100%.
And Ken Gucci still developing this car. New engine, new chassis, all of that. So for the first year, I think, they should still hold their head high. As Ken Gucci initiates. High on the bank, Justin Pollock. You see him, so Ken looking a lot more consistent and fluid as opposed to his first battle. Now coming past that inside clip into that second outside zone, the inner bank, and this gives Justin Pollock a better opportunity to chase him down. You can't have a good chase unless you got a good lead. This is definitely a more chaseable run prior to the previous battle. And there we go. Ken Gucci putting the car in the right places, but everywhere he went, that teal and blue Ford Mustang was following.
Well, I think this was a much better lead run on the big bank for Ken Gucci the second time around. And the surging attack that Justin Pollock had was not there. And that indicates to me that maybe there was an issue with Ken's car on the battle that led to the one more time. Justin Pollock right here takes a move on the inside, tries to get on that same line with Ken Gucci. Little fireball there as he attacks, backs off for a second, attacks again. Gucci smooth through inside clip number 1. Looking for that final rotation into outside zone 3 as JTP scoots up right next to him, matching that line. And here it is again from the sky, that final turn. Great job by Gucci to hit that line right at the edge. And then Pollock coming through the finish line about a half-car distance there. Much better battle the second time around, but was there enough in one driver's camp to get that victory?
The winner of this battle going against Odie Bakshis right now. Chris Yule says JTP. Ryan Lantain says Justin Pollock. And Brian Eggert says JTP. It is Falcon Tires on the right side.
Right now, as it stands, it is a 8-point difference.
Wow, okay. Chelsea Denofa will lead. Jeff Jones giving chase. Our first battle of the Type S Final Four. Purple lights are on. Denofa initiates pulling away from Jones, not part of the equation. Denofa dragging Bumper up on the big bank. Denofa turning it to 11. We saw him in 3rd place on Friday night. And you know what? Just the way Denofa is driving, all I can say is the way he's going to lose this is taking himself out and making a mistake.
Well, as you said, turning it up to 11, that truer words have not been spoken. I mean, that was really a situation where Jones wasn't much of a factor there, and it was caused by Denofa getting a great jump and then just having the ability to keep that grip in the vehicle and keep that gap right there. I mean, that was fairly consistent throughout the run. Jones never really came into play, even on areas where we have compression, like here on inside clip number 1. You could see that arc that Denofa was drawing was smooth, it was fast. He locks in on this last outside zone, and Jones is still really not a factor. So Jones has got his work cut out for him here. He'll take the lead against Denofa, and Denofa's got to be thinking about, you know, what's his strategy here? Does he give Jones a little bit of room, or does he push hard here to try to make his way into the finals?
Jeff Jones on the start line, clearing up the track right now, our race officials. Jones and Denofa. Who's going to the finals? Our Type S finals. And it's been one heck of a weekend. Kick things off on Thursday with practice. Friday, round 7 of the Pro Championship. Last night, Pro 2, Dmitry Brutsky comes out on top collectively of the 4 rounds. Mike Power from the East Coast grabs his first ever podium, and it was the win here in Irwindale. Let's send him on the 2nd run of this battle, our first battle of the Type S Final 4. Jones, Denofa. I have a feeling Denofa's going to kick back a little bit, and then he's going to strike past that first front clip. So watch this. He's going to gain ground on him, Jeff. Lower on the bank. But that's good. It's okay. But watch Denofa coming into the 2nd inner bank. I think he's going to try to stick it to the door of Jones just to not leave it in the judge's hands. And there he goes, moving on in. The gold nose getting to the side of that Doc Edelbrock GT Radial 370Z. But the Ford Mustang of Chelsea Denofa, too much to handle. Ryan, a great run by Jeff Jones, a good effort. But I think that Denofa is just possessed.
Yeah, the opportunity seemed to be lost on the chase run by Jones, and you can see he's midline on the bank there, so he's not going to be able to better the lead run of Chelsea Denofa on that section of the course. And Denofa is doing enough here in the chase, keeping the pressure on through the 2nd outside zone. Looking pretty solid there, got super close on that inside clip. And then the final turn here lets a little bit of breath go by, and then tightens it down once again. So a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Jeff Jones on his chase run. And it looks like Denofa will be moving on in to the finals.
Jeff should be so proud of this season, man.
Yep.
I am so proud of him.
100%.
So regardless, you know, great effort this whole season. And I can't wait to see Denofa slides into that 2nd spot, bumping Ryan Turk down. So Ryan Turk will be 3rd in the overall championship. And here we go to the other side of this Type S Final 4 bracket. Teal and blue covered, but 2 different drivers and vehicles. Odie Bachis will lead, Justin Pollock chasing him down. Odie, look at this, rocketing out. Odie dragging that horn. Oh, and Pollock goes into the wall.
Oh boy.
Oh man, yeah, keep your eye on Odie. Here we go into that inside bank. Now we are talking about, again, okay, so Odie keeps it consistent. Ryan, what do you got?
I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but I want to really see the damage on Justin Pollock, because no question we have to finish up this battle, right?
But Jeff Jones.
But Jeff Jones for the 3rd place battle, if it does not go, okay, he's driving, so that should be
That's a good sign.
Okay, because you obviously want him to be ready to attack for that 3rd place battle. What will happen here now is that Justin Pollock will have an incomplete on his chase run, and he's going to have a big hurdle to climb in trying to get past Odie Bachis.
Now remember, Odie did utilize his competition timeout earlier.
Right.
He didn't have contact with the wall, but Justin Pollock quickly went straight to the pits. Let's take a look at it again here. What happened?
Well, there's a gap established, and it looks like he's trying to close the door. And same thing that Vaughn did in basically the same place, but a little bit more aggressive. That's why I was initially worried. Watch everything fly off the car here. Man, tons of debris. Thankfully, the car looks like it took the hit pretty well. Let's take a look at it again. He's going to start floating. Look at Odie rubbing right on the wall. Very big angle, touches, and then again, that front end just gets sucked right into the big bank. So JTP, there's an up-close look at the damage, the right rear of Justin Pollock. And looking at the wheels here, oh yeah, that one, the right rear looks like it's a little bent inward.
Yeah, it's definitely punched in.
See anything on the front?
Don't, because I mean it did whip him into it, but it didn't seem as bad again as we've seen in the past with Vaughn Gittin Jr. and some of the other drivers where it just sucks you up. So Justin, like I said, I was bragging about those drift tattoos with him scraping, but that's a lot deeper.
What do you think Justin's thinking about here? I mean, this is really interesting situation because he's using the 5, or
is he?
Well, he has to use the 5 because he went back to the hot pit, right? But I wonder, do you concede here and then just look at the third place battle, or do you try to get back? Okay, yeah. See, I'm overhearing some of the conversations.
Oh, interesting.
If he says I'm out right here and not touch the car. See, they haven't touched the car yet. If he says I'm out right here, he could hang on to the 5 for
we should just call it and start working on it now, and he has a little bit more time. I mean, he so this is strategy. He would be the next battle.
Yeah. Odie still has to do the buy run, right?
Odie has to do the buy run. So call the comp timeout. We're going to have to wait.
Well, no, don't call the comp timeout. Just concede. Let Odie do the buy run, and then when he crosses the finish line, then call the comp timeout.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so they're figuring this out. He's not calling.
See, this is one of those new ones.
This with any motorsport, if it's Formula One, NASCAR, rules get instituted because of scenarios like this. There's always addendums. We don't really hear about them too often.
That's a concession right there.
There it is.
Why don't you go higher?
I gifted you.
Why don't you go higher?
I'm gonna be super disappointed.
And that's the perspective. Lorette, what are they saying?
Justin, I think you just heard Justin say, I just gifted you first, so if you don't win, I'll be super disappointed. And Justin, looking under the hood, you can see the damage on the car is in the back rear right. So this tire right in the front looks pretty gnarly. He's looking at it with a flashlight. They're looking for the damage. I want to ask Justin specifically for what. Also, don't want to get in his way. Yeah, exactly.
Don't bother him just yet. Lorette, how's the energy down there in the pits?
These guys are so excited. I've been trying to get to Jeff Jones, but things are just happening. It's chaotic down here, and you can see JTP on his car. Odie right now is kind of watching everything. Jeff Jones waiting in the wings. Chelsea Denofa is a little bit
cheering
further
on
away.
Chelsea Denofa's in the finals. What's the RTR vibe down there?
Oh man, they are celebrating. It has been amazing and electric over there. So Chelsea Denofa, we're on the complete opposite side of the hot pits. I'm not over there with them. Again, and the guys are just in a real celebratory mood.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, Lorette. Love all the insight here. All right, let's watch Odie rip it down the track. He is going to the finals. Odie Bakshish going to the finals. This is his buy run because unfortunately Justin Pollock again took into the wall. So some strategy coming to play here because JTP will go against Jeff Jones for third place.
Yeah, I think whoever called that audible on behalf of Justin Pollock, or if JTP did it himself, that's actually a really smart move, thinking about it now and how it's going to help him, build a little bit more time because he wasn't going to win against Odie, right? Odie's too consistent. Then as the
and he hit the wall, so he's got a deficit. So he fixed it, he came back, he's still at a deficit.
And he's he's got to start working on it then, right? So now he can start working on it now. He concedes. Good move there. Gives him a little bit extra time. So now
our Type S third place battle. Larry Chen down there, signature hat and camo lens. Larry, go ahead, take the photos, bro. Seeker of light. Speaking of lights, they extinguish. Let's send it, Jeff Jones and JTP Justin Pollock. Jeff Jones initiates high on the bank, that Doc Edelbrock GT Radial 370Z. JTP, Justin Pollock, maybe a little bit timid there. Didn't get the car dialed enough. He doesn't have another competition timeout. Jeff Jones could get his first ever Formula Drift podium here at Irwindale. Look at that, JTP now back to form. But Jeff Jones with a solid lead run right there on that front inside clip. Into that last outside zone. He dials it, man. He is right on it. The lightning bolts are striking on track and on the side of the rip.
Well, if there's ever a moment, Jeff, to dig deep, this is it, man. He puts down a pretty solid lead run. JTP goes a little bit lower there, so Jeff, advantage coming off of the big bank. Now into the transition, JTP gets a little bit more settled once they leave the big bank, and you can see he's working it around right here. Now he's kind of on the line with Jeff Jones, attacking here on the second outside zone. Great job by Justin Pollock, super close on proximity. Jones mid-line on the bank, and a good compression there as they hit that second inside clip, and then back around, falling right in line as Justin Pollock, as Jeff Jones just on that outside line on outside zone number 3. But a real opportunity here for Jeff Jones for a career first. Can he capture this moment here, or will JTP get his second podium of the season?
Wow. And that was a good run there for Jeff Jones. Interested to see how he stacks up against Justin Pollock. We saw Pollock throw down against Ken Gucci. I don't think he gapped him, but I'm also wondering, is Justin, oh, we got to restart. I'm wondering if Justin Pollock's vehicle is 100%, because it seemed a bit timid on initiation.
And it may be that he's wondering if it's 100%, right? Whether or not it is. Like maybe now he knows, but at first pass, when you go out there, you don't want to crunch it into the wall, right? You just did that.
Yep. All right. And yep, seeing a lot of Jeff Jones fans out there on the AM virtual fan zone.
Yeah, somebody gave you some love right there.
Give me a shout out. I don't know what he said after. It might have been bad.
Something, Deanda.
might have been bad, might have been good, regardless. Here we go. Let's see the second half of this battle. Pollock and Jones. Thumbs up. Send them, fellas. Matt Sopa on the line. Let's extinguish the lights. It's go time. Lights go off. Emotions go high. It's on. JTP initiates into the bank. High. Look at that. Scraping the bumper once again. No timidness at all. Look at that. Shredding that like a banana. Jeff Jones comes in hot. Woo! Look at that transition from Jones. Comes up a bit shallow. Pollock goes deep. Now transition in that final outside zone. Pollock and Jones. Oh, man.
Honestly, that was one of the best lead runs I think we've seen all night. I mean, that was full commitment from Justin Pollock from start to finish. Look at that. Right up against the wall. Dragging that bumper all the way through. I mean, massively up on the wall. High-risk maneuver.
But wait, there's more.
Jones touching up right there, surging forward, and then again on that outside zone. A real big difference there between the line of Justin Pollock and the line of Jeff Jones. Smooth, consistent. Jones trying to attack one last time. Can he get Justin Pollock back? Can he force it to him one more time? And wow, that was a great lead run from JTP.
Like I said, watch this scrape. He is up close and personal. Initiates and just brings it on in. Hey, how you doing? You staying out of the wall? that was a solid belly laugh there, Ryan. Yeah. All right, both of these drivers wait, and man, Justin Pollock's rear end, look at that thing. He got toe up from the flow up as Jeff Jones waits. Will the carbon fiber trophy elude him? Here is the BC Racing Custom Coilover side-by-side replay.
tempted just to watch, but Justin Pollock hitting the bank, all right, on his initiation, right after his initiation, but holding it really well.
Love how Jeff attacked on the transition, but he ended up gripping up and taking a shallower line. Pollock on that second half was more aggressive, but even on initiation, to be honest, Jeff was high on the lead run, and Pollock was not exactly dialed.
Yep.
But I think that just those X factors. Look at these fans are saying one more time, seeing a Jones here.
Those are all the little tidbits that go into the calculus, right, for the judges as they think about who they want to vote for.
Seeing OMTs. Do we have a winner? Is it Pollock? Is it Jones? Are they going at it again? The drivers impatiently wait. Slide him left for Jones, right for Pollock. Chris Yule says Justin Pollock. And there it is. JTP gets third place, and it's unanimous. So unfortunately for Jeff Jones, he is knocked out, and JTP gets on the podium. I wish I could give out a, not a participation trophy, but just a Jeff Jones trophy.
Now it is a legitimate claim to say that he is one of the top guys. And let's remember, it's going to be 1-2 him and get. That is not the way the championship came into this round.
No way. But you know what? Odie Bakshis would love to end the season with a win. Taking that momentum into 2021. Chelsea Danova. Big angle from him. Does not get as high as we saw previously from Justin Pollock. That's a great unit of measure, but he is flying into that second outside zone. He definitely gets deep there. Odie Bakshis still, again, the teal and blue, the shadow that is Odie Bakshis. Might have just deemed his new nickname right there. He is just, man, he is everywhere, man.
Well, some interesting takeaways there, Jared, from that first run. You mentioned Danova not fully getting up to that outside zone 1. And that is an area where Odie can look in his lead run. Odie surging in the chase position. He made that adjustment to follow Danova. Nice transition with Danova on inside clip 1. Dives in here to 2. And Odie's doing a pretty good job keeping the pressure on. He's staying up there with a pretty long duration. I mean, that is a nice bit of driving there. Now, Danova coming into this final outside zone, sets it up near perfectly, gets right to the edge of that line, and smoothly crosses the finish line. But we've seen the lead run from Danova. We saw where he made a couple sacrifices on that big bank. And now, you know, we know that Odie and his spotter talk regularly. Amy does a tremendous job when she's in that position. I'm not sure if she's doing it tonight.
Yeah,
but
she is.
If she is, she'll know exactly what to tell him to get that strategy to take home the win.
You know what she says?
What?
You got this, babe.
You got this, babe. All right.
Here we go. Odie Bakshis out front. We'll see if you got this, babe. As Chelsea Danova brings on her home. We saw him grab a win earlier this year in St. Louis. He got round 2. Oh, man. Chelsea's in that smoke line, and there it is. Ryan, you called it. Look at that. Nice. As Danova makes a mistake on that front clip. Odie Bakshis, one more outside zone for glory, and he could have a victory here in the 2020 season.
You know, how Danova saved that was unbelievable. I think that's a testament to his driving. He was fully blinded coming off the bank through massive angle on the wrong side of inside clip number 1 and still somehow managed to put in a pretty good chase through outside zone number 2. Let's take a look at it here because that was pretty sensational, even though it was a mistake. And you have to imagine that Odie, taking that information from his spotter, did a good job here. He was like mid-high line on the bank, maybe a little bit better than Danova. But see, Danova's in the smoke line here. He's going to come down and transition way too hard and on the wrong side of inside clip 1. Now, amazingly, he disappears for a second and then comes back in, and he's kind of like back in play here.
Right.
But on the last outside zone, he comes a little bit uncorked as well and is not able to finish the run with the right kind of fluidity and stay on the line with Odie Bakshis. So there it is, big angle there to outside zone 3. You see he starts falling back a little bit, wasn't able to stay with Odie.
I feel like Chelsea, when he's coming off the bank through the smoke, it's the meme, though, no, and then he just takes it out.
Yeah, hitting that clip, you know, I mean, he kind of center punched it, but it was because he was just on a slightly wrong line there. And like I said, amazingly, and it's a testament to his driving ability, he was able to get back on it.
And watch Chelsea here. Watch Chelsea here. And, yeah, we do have a winner.
Let's bring him down.
So let's bring him on down. Bring him on down to the traditional start-finish. Ryan, your thoughts of Irwindale, not only tonight, but the overall triple header. We saw Osbo, we saw Mike Power, we saw Dimitri Brutsky get the Pro 2 championship, and now a pro champion and a winner here in Irwindale.
Yeah, you know, in the spirit of what Vaughn, our champion, has been saying for the past couple rounds, and you know, again tonight, it really has been taking it kind of day by day as things have developed, you know, in the championship and trying to move events around and getting to this point. It feels like such a sigh of relief to get to the end, even though I want to see battles into the mid-morning. I just love drifting so much, and I love seeing these guys battle. It does feel good to finish off the 2020 season, even with all the constraints and challenges that there were. And I hope that all the fans and drivers and sponsors and everybody that gave us support kind of feel the same way. We did it.
Yeah.
We got through all this.
Well, it does feel a little bit normal to banter with you and bicker with you, and we have this old married couple relationship, if you could call it that. But I love you. I appreciate you both on the mic and off the mic, man. So thank you for all that you do for me, man.
Big
I
ups,
love you.
brother.
Thank you. And also unofficially, Ford does lock up the manufacturer championship, and I believe, again, unofficially, we'll get all the numbers. Nitto Tire is not only 1, not only 2, not only 3, but Nitto Tire is 1 through 4 in the 2020 season, talking about overall standing. So we'll announce our third place finisher here, of course, and then we will announce our winner here at round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. The Type S title fight culminates now, and we will have our podium ceremony. We won't be live streaming that, but there's some hugs from these two shredders. A great battle here. You can see Chelsea still smiles for miles. He finishes 2nd overall. So third place here at round 8.
All right.
Third place here at round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Come on, man. Put your hands up. There you go. JTP, Justin Pollock, back on the podium, homeboy. Come on. Smiles for miles. Kalamazoo, Michigan's own, the Hotline Boy. All right, your winner here at round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Your winner is unanimous. Your winner, unanimous. There it is. Teal and blue, Odie Bakshis, your winner here, round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. You can't hear me? Nobody else is here yelling. Odie, you won, kid. You won. You did it. You did it. You got this, babe. Right, Amy? All right, that means 2nd place, not only here tonight, but in the overall championship. And we'll give out those chrome trophies. 2nd place in that BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Don't jump off the wall and celebrate, Chelsea, and break more heels. Your winner, or 2nd place, Chelsea Denofa. 2nd place here at round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. And there it is. Woo! There it is, cracking a monster, cracking a cold one. So you got Bakshis, Denofa, and Pollock. An eerie yet somewhat normal, again, sitting up here next to you. Lorette Nickel, I'm throwing it down to you. I see you working through the socially distanced crowd, we're at least wearing masks. So thank you. Lorette, down to you. You got Odie there?
Yeah, trying to make my way through the crowd. They're obviously celebrating. They're taking a photo and videos. Odie Bakshis, you have been looking for this first win of this 2020 season. Congratulations. I know for round 7, I heard you say that you had an awkward mechanical failure. Was that in the back of your head?
Yeah, you know, we worked hard to fix the transmission after I went out in top 32 in round 7. Whoa. And honestly, we had some gremlins of the similar sort pop up, and I just had to put in the back of my head and say that is out of my control. We don't have time to pull the transmission out. And I just had to shift very cautiously into initiation. But it worked out really good, and this is not only the first win that I'm celebrating with my team. I've been in this for 10 years, and this is the only venue I have not podiumed at. So this means a huge deal to me, and to Amy, my wife, spotter, we've been working hard for this, so I am stoked, absolutely stoked.
Oh man, Odie, was so happy for you. What has this season been like for you? How do you even put it into words?
you know, this year's been tough for everyone, but hats off to Formula Drift for putting the series together through a very turbulent time. And I sit back and watch, you know, acquaintances that race in other organizations, and I am blown away how Formula Drift has been able to put it together through all this. We all feel safe. We're doing a great job, and just hats off to them for giving us an awesome playground and for letting us rip these 1,000 horsepower cars that we worked so hard in the off season to put together. It'd be a total shame not to rip one for one season. So very thankful to Formula Drift.
Cody Bachis, congratulations. We are going to look for Chelsea and for Vaughn Gittin Jr., our champion. Now, again, we're making our way through the media scrum coming through here, and the RTR team is here celebrating. Chelsea DeNofa, congratulations on second place. This has been an amazing season for you.
Yeah, it's been absolutely. It's had a couple ups and downs, but we've been putting it together for most of the time. The car's been amazing, and it's been me just kind of making some bonehead mistakes here and there. But tonight was good. The last few events have been rad. We've climbed some points, ended up second overall, and can't thank everybody enough.
Okay, so assessing your season, how do you clean up those bonehead mistakes and not make them next year?
You know, sometimes it's a balance of me driving the way I want and the way I need to. So, like, I just been getting a little bit better at that.
All right, Chelsea, thank you so much. We're going to go get Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr., if you'll come on over here, celebrating his second championship. You have been waiting 10 years again for this moment. How sweet is this?
It's unbelievable. I thought it was unbelievable earlier, and then Chelsea goes and grabs second in the championship and finishes the event in second, and I'm just elated, you know. It was wild, you know, and like I'm not surprised in any way because our RTR team are just the hardest working, most passionate, high energy, positive vibe dudes ever, and when you can get that around you, it's hard to not be your best. And we were able to be our best almost all year this year, you know. And like everyone else, we had some ups and downs and overcame them. And of course, we're all battling this crazy thing that they're calling 2020. But I'm just so proud and grateful. And I hope that our fans, you know, enjoyed this year. You know, I know they couldn't be with us for most rounds and they were missed. But I hope that you know, I saw the live stream today, and it was so cool seeing everybody at home cheering and stuff. So I just want to thank you guys, thank Formula Drift, and thank you to my team and partners. This is just, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing.
Amazing. And I know someone else that's amazing, your wife, Abby, your son, Gunnar. They are your entire world. But how do you explain what this champion means to you? How do you explain to them?
Oh, it was so incredible. They had to leave, and we went over earlier and took a photo by the trophy. And Gunnar was just standing there by himself, and he had this big, giant trophy, and he's just like, trophy, and I'm just like, oh my God, like the best thing in my life ever right now. So it's incredible, and it's incredible to share with them. You know, Abby and I have been together now, I'm not even going to count, but we have our 10-year wedding anniversary next year. So we were together for my first championship, and you know, she's not coming to all the rounds right now because obviously other things going on, but it's incredible for her to be here. And Gunnar, you know, he just between rounds being with him, and it's incredible. It's just a different thing for me, a different point in my life. But this being on the track hasn't changed, and these challenges and what this sport does to you as a person. But having a family now and sharing that with them is just it's a whole nother level. So I love it. I love this. I love that. I love you. I love you. And love. Spread it more often, world.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to your 2020 Formula Drift champion, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Lorette.
I thought is Ryan, your thoughts, 2020 season, man. I know I asked you a little bit ago, but bears repeating.
No, I just appreciate everybody that has been involved in the series, you know, from drivers and sponsors and all the media, all of our staff, and especially the fans that supported us along the way and gave us well wishes. I've spoken to so many fans in person and over email and through DMs, and they've just been so awesome. You know, I love the fans that follow the sport and that learn about it and understand how different this thing is.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you guys going on the ride with us. I'm glad we got to the end of it and we can focus our attention on 21 and hopefully kiss 2020 bye forever.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia, and bye, Formula Drift fans. On behalf of the whole Formula Drift staff, thank you to our new live stream team. I think you guys all appreciate it. Kemp and the whole gang down there in the booth, the unsung heroes behind the curtain. I think they did a great job. Only a few typos. Misspelled my name the first round. I'm joking, they didn't. But thank you so much. Thank you to all the fans. On behalf of Lorette Nickel, Brian Sage, our judges Chris Yule, Brian Egger, and Ryan Lontana, all our FD staff. And thank you so much. We'll see you guys in 21. Peace out from the House of Drift. Send it. We'll see you online, or we'll see you another time. Formula Drift Nation.